Good afternoon, Joseph E. Reed here. Going to do some live music for you. Just getting some practice time in. Got a lot of fun performances and stuff coming up. So get some practice time in. But doing it live for you. So if you have any song requests, I can play it for you. All right. Also, as we're going along, if you see anything that you enjoy and you want to show some love and support, just check the links in the description. You can leave a tip, Venmo, CashApp, PayPal, or you can buy me a coffee. All right, let's start with some Bob here. Cool. All right. Yeah, I'm inside today because it's nice and rainy here in Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia. So thank you all for being here on the live stream. Jay Walker, good to see you. Sasha, all right. Got some song requests. Appreciate them. Got Erica wanting Google Dolls by Iris. How will I know? Whitney Houston, Jose. Hudson Lamb, good to see you. Hello, hello. Esther, ain't too proud to beg. Hey, good song request, man. We got the best doggy boy 9000 saying what's up. Hey, it's good to see you, man. So good. I appreciate that. Lose yourself. Eminem. All right, let me see what we got here for you. Do appreciate the song request. It makes this a fun journey, and it gives my creativity a nice stretch. Let me try this Iris song for Erica. I think it was Erica. Yeah, Erica. Right, so nope. right. That was for Erica. A little Iris for you by the Go Dolls. All right. Cool. Let me change it up a little bit. This is for Esther. Ain't Too Proud to Beg by the Temptations. I'll get to you, Gabriel. Play you Lose Yourself too. All right. All right, that was some Temptations for whoever asked for Temptations. All right, Esther was the person. Jose, how will I know Whitney Houston? I'll do that one for you, and then I'll play you Gabriel a song for you. If you have any song requests, make sure you put them in the chat, and we'll keep the music going. And also, if you love the music, make sure you like and subscribe. Also, in my description, there's a way you can get on my email list, and I think there is anyway, and find out when and where I'll be performing. But make sure you like and subscribe too. Just check my battery here. We're okay. Okay. This thing's buzzing a little bit. Okay. It's from Jose. How will I know? My hair is out of control. Here we go. Hey, cool. Hey, I want to make sure that I'm still checking the messages here. Oh, what's that noise? Okay, let me go on my other device. Sometimes my live stream will freeze up, and I'll be going, but I won't see the messages. So I'm gonna log in on my other device. Let me go here and make sure that I'm not missing any of your messages here. Hey, yeah, see all these messages I'm missing. All right. Eminem, Chris DeBerg. Okay, I see you now. Sarah, my messages stopped after Eminem. Guess I lost myself then. Sarah wants Chris DeBerg. Giovanni Ducata, you're really good at it. Hey, thank you very much. Guitar too, that's what I do, man. All right, here's some Eminem for you. Here we go. This is for Gabriel or Gabriel. Hey, what's that sound like that for? That's right. Here we go. Here we go. All right. That was for Gabriel. Cool. Hey, if you got any more song requests, please put them in the chat. I think the chat is working. Oh, somebody says Alice Cooper Poison. Let me play this. What was the one before? Lady in Red, Christopher. That's a nice switch up. Lady in Red from Lose Yourself. I'm gonna take this off because it's kind of warm in here. Excuse me. You're gonna lose yourself to the music, no control it. Never let it go. You only get one shot of it. Okay. What's going on? All right, here's Lady in Red, and then I don't know if I know Alice Cooper Poison. Lady in Red for you. That was for Sarah. Final Countdown, Alice Cooper, Eric Clapton, Incubus Drive. Good song request. Let me see. I don't think I know this Poison song. Let me look it up real quick though. How do I do this here? Let me go to here. No, that's not what I want to go to. That's okay. It's called Poison. What's it called? Poison? Alice Cooper Poison. Alice Cooper Poison. Poison song by Alice Cooper. Okay, let me look it up. Poison, blah, 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 blah. Lyrics. Sometimes I know songs, but I didn't realize that I knew them. Let me look up the chords. No, not clean. Chords. It's a dirty song? Who knew? Chords. All right. Chords by Alice Cooper. Poison. Patience. Your cruel device. Blood like ice. I want to love you, but I better not touch it. I don't want to love you. I'm going to have to look up that song and listen to it. I'm not sure about this. Okay. All right, going back. What were we saying before? Final Countdown. Another one I'm going to have to look up. Eric Clapton. Okay, I know an Eric Clapton song. Let me do that for you. All right, here we go. Where's my capo? Capo. Let's see what it is. Here we go. Appreciate the song requests. Keep them coming. All right, so I'll do this by Eric Clapton for Pincinta, Rasul. Then I'll play some Incubus. I like Incubus. It's a nice song. Okay, this is Eric Clapton's song. All right, Tears in Heaven, air clapping. That was for Pesita Rasul. All right, appreciate the song request. If you're digging the music, make sure you like and subscribe, and share this with other people. Also, check the links in the description. You can show some love and support by leave me a tip. There's Venmo, Cash App, PayPal. There's Buy Me a Coffee. Joseph E. Reed for all those things. All right, let me see here. I'm going to do Drive by Incubus. I Don't Yet Know, Leave Me Now by Chicago. Sorry, I'm slacking off. Mick, Music King, amen. Hey, John Phillips. That's what's up. Thank you, John Phillips. Hey. All right, here's some Drive for you. Mixing up my songs. Let's play Wonderwall. Let's try again. Now some Incubus for you. All right, I'm gonna skip the next couple of requests because I don't know how to play them yet. But I'll play Angelica, Nothing Compares to You. Thank you, Marcus Gaines, for that. I'm looking over here because my other device has my chat. My device here, like my phone, just froze up. Don't know why this happens all the time, but oh well. Tune up. Good. By the way, I'm using a looper pedal to record the background music. Boomerang looper pedal. And then I have a effects pedal that I'm plugging the violin through. That's how I can get those nice, crazy sounds. But nothing compares to you. All right. Here's some prints for Angelica. Nice one. Cool. All right, Luis got another song request for me. Mooney Long. All right, this one's made just for you, Luis. And I might have to cut it after this. We got some activities esta noche. So do make sure that you're liking and subscribing. Your comments and questions are appreciated. And any tip you can give is much appreciated too. There's some links in the description for Venmo, CashApp, PayPal. You can buy me a coffee. Also, when you go to buymeacoffee.com/Joseph E. Reed, you can find some, I have a shop there with some songs I've recorded, so you can get that there too. But anyway, here's me for made for me, Mooney Ma. Here's the next song for you. Here we go. Let's see. All right, that was Made for Me for Luis. Quick story about that song. So, and my son Kingston was a wee baby, small. We used to try and play music to get him to sleep, and so that was one of the songs that seemed to work pretty well. So we found like a version on YouTube that had that song repeated like for 3 hours, and we just play it over and over and over again. So anytime he was crying, hey, play the Made for Me song, and try and get him to sleep. So that song was like pounded in my head, but it's a lovely song, so that works out pretty good. All right, let me check these messages real quick, and then I'm gonna have to go. Let me see. Leola, thank you for the hearts and the flowers. Appreciate it. Hey, hope y'all are enjoying the music, that you've liked and subscribed, and uh, check the links in the description as well. Show some love and support. I'm gonna go for now. Take care of some business, but I'll see you next time. Hopefully tomorrow. We'll see. In the meantime, God bless.